What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your daily astrology horoscope for Friday, June 16th, 2023. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. I appreciate you all very much. Hope everybody's doing well, and happy Friday. Well, the moon's going to be here in Gemini for this Friday. It is Gemini season. It's a balsamic moon in Gemini. It's going to meet with Mercury, but not before it squares Saturn in Pisces at 7 degrees. And this is the final day of Saturn direct. Saturn's going to station in that retrograde motion tomorrow, just before the new moon on Saturday. So something to keep in mind. There is heavy Saturnian energy, even though there's only Pluto that just degressed back into Capricorn. So there's this weird Saturnian vibe, and we can feel it today, maybe feeling like a little blocked from the comforts in life, or wanting to chill, or just do things that we might find stimulating or exciting, but it's almost like, gosh, I have to take care of something, and that's a weird conundrum, because usually with a dark moon phase we want to actually chill out, let things dissipate. And maybe that's another essence too with the moon, Mercury, and Gemini, and all this very heady stuff that's going on, is with Saturn in Pisces, maybe it is more responsible to chill out a little bit. It's also Sun square Neptune. Sun's at 25 degrees Gemini, Neptune at 27, so we're also dealing with that. So it's still an interesting energy where we can want or feel very called to really put a lot of effort forth, especially mentally, or even emotionally, trying to understand more, or get more truth, or feel something electric in some essence. But sometimes the responsible thing to do is just to feel this energy and to kind of let things pass, and like maybe not a million things have to be done at once. So it's an interesting one there. There is good energy though with Mercury starting to really sextile over to Venus in Leo, and the moon will make that sextile today as well when it conjuncts Mercury and just after. So there is definitely some like good energy, but I think it is more in like chilling out into your creative avenues of life, doing things that do put a smile on your face, even with Venus and Jupiter still in their square a little bit, like, but separating, like, looking at the positive side of things. What can you put your energy into that brings more light to your life, that brings more excitement? Does it all have to be done today to get to that? Probably not. We probably figure out the truth of the situation more as this month of June continues, and as we get into the the new moon in Gemini, and even summer school with Saturn retrograde, because we're going to start to see a lot of retrogrades popping off here, right? Like Pluto went retrograde, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Uranus, like everything's about to click off a little bit for summer. So that's maybe it too. Like we can feel like we're switching gears a little bit on this Friday, and I think as long as you're finding things that keep you excited, and maybe it's like putting effort into finding excitement, like especially if we're looking for motivation right now, it might just come to you too, and it might come to you in an interesting way, but like be open, don't block sort of the synchronicities that are trying to maybe show you excitement, or show you, some kind of a creative avenue in life. And maybe, it also takes maybe a little bit of effort to get that. So interesting a little bit today, because I feel like it's very heady, but it's also kind of like, just use the head for things that excite you. Like, don't use it for things that get you really spun out or put yourself in a bad mood. It's like the creative doors are wide open right now. I feel like there's only boundaries up for, maybe toxic things in our life, that whatever toxic is, I'm not trying to name any one thing as that, but our own sort of, toxic traits or habits. It's the last day of Saturn direct in Pisces, so we're already kind of washing out and dissolving, a lot of things that we put a lot of time and effort into, that may, especially after the next 2 years here, when Saturn does finish up and go into Aries, like we're gonna be like, oh yeah, that was definitely something I was doing, and I wasn't escaping in a positive way in my life. It was kind of a negative way. So maybe there's just little things like that that are coming to light, and I think the bright spot is we can really feel inspiration for new avenues of commitment. And it might feel a little uncomfortable at first because whenever something's new, it does feel uncomfortable. But also new brings excitement too. So I think that's where we're at Friday is really look for excitement and don't get hung up on things that feel like they're stunting our excitement in our life or our creativity. It's just like little tweaks can actually be something that's like, oh, dang, that's a great idea. That sounds like fun. I'm going to put my energy there. Boom. And maybe it's just like getting into the thing you feel obligated to that actually shows you a level of truth also. So I feel like there's obligations always, and today we have to deal with obligations. We can't bypass them, but it's almost through going into the situation that we maybe don't want to handle or deal with because it's just whatever. It actually does bring a lot of resolve and show another level of truth that we can, either expand upon things or, let things dissolve out. So there is information definitely that gets brought about today. And I think one way or another, it definitely shows us where we could put our energy. Shows us where we want to put our energy. And I believe Saturn is also, making sure that it's spiritually on the right path. So it's like even the most mundane thing can, show up and feel like it's really on a spiritual path with you. And then also things that maybe on a very spiritual plane you thought were, on your path, maybe they can be dissolving too, and like a more mundane experience comes in that actually is exciting. So there's a few ways to look at it. Curiosity is definitely our friends right now. And yeah, stay curious. Chill out if you have to. Sometimes the responsible thing to do is to chill out. That's another element with this energy as well. The world in reverse. Yeah, I think it does feel like we're picking up pieces from the old world or old parts of ourself that actually have importance, and they're like actually meant to be on the journey. And it's like, hey, don't forget this stuff. You're gonna want it in the next world you're building. You still want that tool. You still want that, hobby or whatever it is. So it's like it could feel like things are kind of coming back into our consciousness too that we're gonna want into the next. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, it's just an interesting time, I think, when it deals with our values. And I think we're all in a place where we are starting to make little pivots and make little changes, and it's all very necessary. And it can feel as if we're not maybe in control in a certain scenario that we want to be in control of, or, have everything really dialed in and have the things we want. But it's like we're damn close to, getting that. It's almost like we just have to merge worlds here. So it's like merging certain parts of ourselves that maybe we forgot about with where we're at now, which ultimately are like innovating new, better ways where things kind of like worlds come together and really merge in a very beautiful way. And the Knight of Wands in reverse. It's an interesting one too. I mean, I feel like we're having to tone down certain things to understand other things. So it's like certain things are getting, a red light put up to it, and I feel like some things are getting a green light put up to it. So, maybe we have to check our egos, check our actions, and make sure that we're listening to ourselves and to our feelings. And, really, I think looking at like the truth and the synchronicity and like what's popping up and, who's popping up and who's saying what. And it's not that we want to put so much of our own perspective on like what's being said or who's saying it or on any kind of gossip in the world, but that it all is, there for a reason so that we can grow as individuals. And instead of maybe getting hot-headed or fired up about situations, like really listen and make sure you pick up your tools to go into the new world. And it's always a new world every day. So I think every day we get to kind of look and see like what we really want to bring into this new world, this new day, and make sure that it's something that really does vibe with your independent truth. And all the rest of the stuff doesn't really matter, right? So, love you all very much. Hope you have a great Friday, and I'll see you all for the weekend new moon forecast tomorrow. Much love.